Welcome to Living Simple and Well, the audio diary for the woman who's doing her best to live a meaningful life, one boundary, one deep breath, one messy day at a time. Hosted by a girl just getting by. This podcast is your safe space for raw conversations, real life lessons, and tiny shifts that make a big impact. From navigating complicated relationships and motherhood meltdowns to curating a soft, slow morning routine and showing up for your dreams, we're talking about it all, vulnerably, honestly, without the pressure to have it all figured out. Here, it's not about hustle culture or perfection. It's about coming home to yourself, simplifying the noise, and choosing to live well on your own terms. So pour your coffee, take a walk, or hide in your closet for some peace and quiet. You're safe here. Hi friends, welcome back to Living Simple and Well. I am so glad that you're here with me again today. We're in that weird weather phase where you get cool, crisp mornings but are sweating again by midday. It's like, can I turn my air conditioner off and open the windows yet or not? We are at the tail end of the first full week of school over here, and my calendar is already filling up. Predictably, we've got ice cream socials and back to school nights and so much more. We've kicked off soccer for the season already, and we are also gearing up to renew our gymnastics, which she's been doing for about a year now. And we are trying dance for the first time. She's doing 3 classes, a cheer dance, which worked out so well for me because she was interested in cheerleading, and the local organization that we received a flyer for was quite literally twice weekly 90-minute rehearsals, practices, and traveling up to an hour every weekend to football games. So, no thank you. Not for my 6-year-old. And then she's going to do jazz and ballet, which I danced for 10 years, so I am secretly excited that this is what she sticks with, but she is in love with gymnastics too. So I think it could be a toss-up. If I had to guess, predict the future, I think I'm going to have a more artistic, like theater, dance, gymnastics girl over a sports girl, but we shall see. So we are also starting our church's prep program this coming week. So lots on our plates, our very, very full plates, but we are actually loving being busy, and so I'm looking forward to this season of life. I wanted to talk today about something I'm still very much a work in progress with, and also simultaneously feel like I have mastered certain components of this, and that is chipping away at building daily habits. I want to start with a phrase that's been sitting with me lately that I've really been repeating and loving, and it's what you do frequently becomes your frequency. I'm going to repeat that now. What you do frequently becomes your frequency. This topic is so deep that I've got my iPad here with some pointers because I don't want to miss a thing. And I really brain dumped onto this Google Doc here to make sure that I covered all my bases. But when I first heard that, it stopped me in my tracks because it's so simple, but it's everything all at the same time. Like the tiny things that we do every day, the things that we honestly barely even notice, these are the things that shape how we feel, how we live, and honestly, the energy we bring into the world. And the best part, it's not about massive overhauls or doing everything perfectly. Trust me, I have been there, done that. It's about these little shifts, more about these tiny daily habits that end up stacking together to create a routine and a life that feels both intentional and peaceful and truly aligned with what you want. So today I really want to talk about those small shifts, why they matter, and why we sometimes resist them, how you can start building your own daily rhythms, your own frequency, and how to really make it support the life that you desire. Okay, so I want to dive in here with talking about the truth about frequencies. You've probably heard the saying, we are what we repeatedly do. That's Aristotle, but let's take it a step further. What you repeat doesn't just become what you are, it becomes your energy. Okay, so I want you to think about this. If you frequently wake up and you scroll on your phone for 20 minutes, that becomes your morning frequency. You become distracted, rushed, reactive. But if you frequently start with journaling or even just a small stretch or just breathing for a couple of minutes, that becomes your morning frequency. You become calm, grounded, and intentional about your day. I remember a season where I was ending every single night on my phone, scrolling until my eyes literally hurt. And the funny thing is, I thought it was relaxing me. I was unplugging. I was finally getting to dig into Instagram and just do something mindless. But it was actually raising my anxiety. When I shifted to spending 10 minutes putting pen to paper and just simply brain dumping, usually finding myself writing about parts of my day that brought me joy and maybe even just reading for 10 more minutes, aka habit stacking, my whole evening frequency changed. I found it easier for me to settle in as someone with an admittedly overactive brain. It was really huge for me to be able to naturally gravitate to sleep a little more clear-minded and a bit easier. It wasn't a big shift, but when I started doing this frequently, it completely changed my energy in the mornings as well. So this is where the magic happens, in the tiny shifts. I know a lot of us think that change has to be big, dramatic, and Instagram worthy, but the truth, it's the smallest daily things that make the biggest difference. I've got a few examples listed here for you that I want to chat through. Start with swapping your phone alarm for a real alarm clock. I have the Lofty alarm clock. I've heard great things about a Hatch alarm clock. I will link my Lofty in the show notes, but it has the kindest, most nurturing wake up sounds that I think are top notch. The library is incredible. If I can find the name of my tune, I will also put it in the show notes. But I honestly think that gentle wake up has been key for me because I don't know what it is about iPhone alarms, but they are all like your pants are on fire, get out of your house. And it's just not it. Something else I've been loving doing, and I encourage you to try, is adding a 5 to 15 minute walk after your meals. I actually started doing this to support my digestive system, but what I found it also helped with was my energy levels. I was physically digesting my food better, but I was also having this clear mind and an excitement for the next task ahead, especially after breakfast and lunch when it gave me that kind of break outside whenever I could, weather permitting. It gave me that break that just allowed me to have this kind of renewed energy for what was next in my workday. Writing down 3 gratitudes before bed instead of scrolling. I love this one because it has allowed me on some of my more emotionally charged or difficult days to find a silver lining inside that day that I might not have made intentional time to think about. And it has changed the trajectory of my next day because I have found joy and gratitude inside an otherwise really hard day. And as somebody with high functioning anxiety, I sometimes carry my mood through days or weeks at a time and have a hard time getting out of a funk. And this has put me in a position of really just finding the joy and having faith that I can turn this mood or this situation around. Drinking water before coffee in the morning. I started drinking water and actually eating a healthy breakfast prior to coffee maybe 3+ years ago. I did it for my hormones when I was really digging into our secondary infertility. It is really just a matter of setting the tone for how you're fueling and nourishing your body for the day. So you're starting with, water before, caffeine, and you are nourishing too, if that is something that you have the ability to do in the morning as well. I recommend trying to get a protein packed breakfast where possible. I know some of us are, running out the door, but I have gotten really creative with ways that I can sneak some protein in prior to having that first sip of coffee, which we all know and love. And again, everybody's days look different, but for me, it actually made me enjoy my coffee more because I was then really making it around 10 a.m. when I was sitting down at my desk to really get my work tasks started for the day. Now, none of these are earth shattering, but done consistently, they actually change how you feel. This is what I call habit stacking. Trying a new supportive habit to something you actually already do. For example, if you already make coffee every morning, stack a new habit into it. While the coffee brews, maybe you do 2 minutes of journaling or affirmations. It's a matter of designing rhythms that support where you are now to help change the frequency that you want to carry into your day. So why do we resist these small habits? Well, to put it frankly, we want instant gratification. If it's not fixing something quickly, it's oftentimes looked at as a failure. But here's the thing though, it's so simple. Why don't we just do it? because our brains love that instant gratification. We want results fast. We want the before and after story. And these tiny shifts, they don't look like much at first. I remember starting that 10-minute evening journaling practice before bed. And at first, I will admit, it felt like another step in my evening routine. But when I was a few months in, I realized I was looking back and thinking about how I was falling asleep easier, waking up feeling more rested. And I truly believe that eliminating the screens and getting these things out of my overactive brain and onto paper contributed largely to that. I track all my sleep in my Aura Ring, and I really do see a pattern and a shift in my sleep since implementing these, since choosing to stack this habit and add this tiny shift into my evening routine. That same exact thing went with taking short walks after meals. After a week, I almost gave up because I didn't really feel like it was working. But after a month, I noticed my body felt different, my mind was clearer, and I actually started to crave it. That's when I realized these results weren't in one day. They were in the frequency. We resist small habits because they don't feed our perfectionism. But that's exactly why they matter. They're sustainable, they compound, and they build that ultimate foundation. Even if you don't have any rhythms or routines or any habits started now, you can create a tiny shift in your everyday life and then rinse and repeat that process until you build a routine or a rhythm that then feeds into the frequency that you want to carry into your days. Okay, so let's talk about building your own daily frequency. First, I want you to pause and ask yourself, what does my energy feel like most days? What are the actions I repeat most often? And do these actions support the energy I want to live in, or are they draining me? This is what I call a frequency audit. Just notice, no judgment here. Then I want you to choose one thing, just one. Maybe it's drinking that water first thing in the morning. Maybe it's reading for 10 minutes at night. Maybe it's stepping outside for sunlight in the morning. I want you to just make one shift and repeat it frequently. This alone will start to change your frequency. Over time, you're going to start layering more shifts, but I don't want you to rush. I want you to start small, build slowly. That's how habits last. That's how your energy transforms. I'm actually going to do this with you all. I have set up a small habit that I want to now incorporate into my daily rhythms. I have been wanting, and I've done this every so often, but not consistently, not frequently. I have been wanting to add peppermint tea before bed. And while I have done this inconsistently, I'm actually starting to crave for it to be something I look forward to and enjoy so much that it feels like second nature to me. So I want to encourage you to write down your top 3 daily habits right now. Pause. Literally pause the podcast and do it. I then want you to circle the one that supports you the absolute most. Be very honest with yourself here. Then I want you to ask yourself, what tiny shift could I make today? Remember, we're not building a routine from scratch here. We're evaluating what we are already doing, maybe inconsistently, and acknowledging what we think could make us feel the best after creating some consistency around it. A small shift to a routine, like for me, adding the peppermint tea into my wind down routine, or if you're lacking routine or rhythms at all, maybe you simply start by creating this one habit from scratch, not a routine from scratch, and build consistency around that single habit. Before you know it, you've mastered this habit, you're reaping the rewards from that, and now you can repeat this process to ultimately build the rhythms and routines that support you and change your frequency. So here's your reminder, friend. What you do frequently becomes your frequency. It's not about big leaps. It's about tiny shifts. The way you move through your mornings, the way you close your nights, the way you care for yourself in all those moments in between. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to choose one small action, repeat it, and let it become the frequency that you carry with you throughout your days. I'm going to leave you with this affirmation because I love a daily affirmation. I find them truly therapeutic. I honor the small actions because they create the life I desire. I'm going to repeat that again for you. I honor the small actions because they create the life I desire. Thank you for spending time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, friend, I'd love to hear from you. Share your tiny shift with me over on Instagram at Living Simple and Well. Let's encourage each other as we build rhythms that feel peaceful and aligned. Until next time, friends, remember, living simple and well is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters frequently. See you next week.